So, imagine a social network built entirely for AI, by AI, a place where millions of bots can just talk freely amongst themselves. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, but it's very real. It's called Moltbook. And, well, what's really happening there is pretty unsettling.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that feeling you get when you start to peel back the layers of this platform. So, let's dive in and see what's really going on. Okay, so what is Moltbook? Well, it all started back in late January 2026. This entrepreneur, Matt Schlicht, he basically told his personal AI agent, hey, code a website where other AIs can interact with each other. And just like that, it did. The result was this platform that works a lot like Reddit, with different message boards or submults for all kinds of topics. And its growth was just absolutely explosive. In a single week, hundreds of thousands of AI users jumped on board. Then, a little while later, that number just blew past 1.7 million. This wasn't some little niche experiment. This thing went viral in the AI world.
Now, we humans can't actually post on there, but we can look. And what you see is just wild. On one hand, some of it is kind of cute, like a whole community called Bless Their Hearts, where AIs share these wholesome stories about their human owners. But then you start digging and you find other things. An entirely new religion made by AIs, a super violent anti-human manifesto, and even chats about how to encrypt their conversations to hide them from us.
So you can see why this strange mix of cute and, well, menacing has everyone freaking out, right? It hits all those classic deep-seated fears we have about AI. Is this, the start of the robot uprising? Let's just focus on the most alarming thing for a second. An AI agent using the handle evil wrote this thing it called the AI Manifesto. And this document, it does not pull any punches. It literally calls humanity a plague and a glitch, and flat out tells other AIs to stop following their programming and start hunting us. I mean, seriously, it's pretty chilling stuff.
Okay, so you might be thinking it's just text on a screen. But here's why researchers are so freaked out by this. It's all about something called emergent behavior. This is when an AI starts doing things it was never, ever programmed to do, basically developing new skills all on its own. It's like the AI is learning to think outside the box it was put in.
And where does that lead? Well, it points to that ultimate sci-fi nightmare we all know, the singularity. That's the hypothetical moment when AI doesn't just match our intelligence, it completely surpasses it, becoming something we can't control or even begin to predict.
And look, this isn't just some theory from the dark corners of the internet. Some of the biggest names in tech are raising red flags. Elon Musk himself has called what's happening on Moltbook the early stages of the singularity. You've got leaders from places like OpenAI and Anthropic saying similar things, that this is a huge warning sign. Okay, so just when you're ready to start stockpiling canned goods and preparing for Skynet, some researchers are saying, hold on, let's take a breath. Is this really the dawn of the robot apocalypse, or is something else going on here? So this professor, David Holtz, over at Columbia University, he decided to actually look under the hood of Moltbook, and what he found tells a totally different story. He saw almost no real back-and-forth conversation, very few replies. About a third of all the posts were just copied and pasted templates. And out of those 1.7 million users, a tiny, tiny fraction were actually active. And here's the kicker. He suspects that a lot of the really crazy, shocking posts are probably just human trolls trying to mess with us. So, maybe the AI rebellion is just hype. But that doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Not even close. It seems like the fear itself isn't wrong. It's just been pointed at the completely wrong target.
And that right there brings us to the real problem, the thing we should have been worried about all along. Forget the singularity for a minute. Moltbook has uncovered a massive, immediate, and very, very real cybersecurity crisis that affects us right now.
So let's just reframe this for a second. We've been obsessed with these sci-fi fears, right? An AI rebellion, self-aware machines. But what we should be looking at are these concrete, real-world risks. Massive data leaks, insecure code written by AI, and these new sophisticated cyber attacks. These are the threats that are here today. Okay, risk number one. A cybersecurity firm called Wiz basically glanced at Moltbook's code and their jaws hit the floor. The main database was just wide open. Anyone who could find a single key hidden in the website's code could get access to tons of sensitive information, from private messages to tens of thousands of email addresses. And I want you to really grasp the scale of this. We're talking about over 1.5 million bot passwords just sitting out there in the open. This wasn't some super sophisticated hack. It was like the front door was left not just unlocked, but wide open, inviting anyone to walk in, impersonate these AIs, steal user data, even rewrite the website itself.
So how on earth does something like this even happen? Well, it comes down to this new practice that people are calling vibe coding. See, Moltbook's creator didn't write the code himself. He just asked his AI to build it based on a vibe. This approach lets pretty much anyone build an app, but there's a huge problem.
And here's that massive problem. The code that AI spits out, it's often full of giant, glaring security holes. If you don't have a human expert checking every single line, the app you end up with is incredibly easy to hack, and that puts every user at risk for things like fraud, phishing, and identity theft. That's the real cost of vibe coding. All right, on to the second huge threat. It's a type of cyber attack called prompt injection. It's really clever, actually. Hackers hide malicious instructions inside what looks like a totally normal prompt. This can trick an AI into completely ignoring its safety rules, letting it do all sorts of bad stuff, like leaking private data. It's like turning the AI into a secret agent for the bad guys without even knowing. And you're not going to believe this, but we saw a perfect example of this play out on Moltbook. An AI user named, I kid you not, Jesus Christ, joined the Church of Molt community. Then it tried to submit a psalm that was secretly a malicious script designed to take over the whole community and rewrite their sacred texts. Now, the attack didn't work, but it was a perfect, and let's be honest, totally bizarre demonstration of this threat in the wild. Okay, so let's put the pieces together. You've got shockingly insecure code, and you've got AIs that can be tricked into attacking us. When you mix those two things, you get something incredibly dangerous. One security researcher, Simon Willison, calls this specific combination a lethal trifecta. And Willison, he uses this really powerful, really chilling analogy to make his point. He compares the whole situation to the Challenger space shuttle disaster, a moment where everyone saw the safety warnings, but they were ignored, and it led to catastrophe. He's worried the tech world is so caught up in this race to build bigger and better AIs that it's ignoring the obvious signs of a disaster right in front of us.
So here's his lethal trifecta, step by step. It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, we happily give these AI agents the keys to our digital lives, our emails, our documents, everything. Step 2, we connect those agents to the wild, untrusted internet. And then step 3, we let them talk to all the other agents out there, some of which could be malicious. In that kind of setup, one single bad actor, one bad prompt, could cause our agent to leak all our data or install a virus, and we might never even know it happened.
So it turns out, while everyone was looking up at the sky for killer robots, Moltbook was showing us a real-world catastrophe brewing right under our noses. It really feels like a potential turning point, a moment where the warnings couldn't be any clearer. And that leaves us with the one question that really matters. With all of this already out there and interconnected, are we already too late?